Hello, there we go. Now that we have everything working, this is Michelle with Revolutionary Resume, and I want to welcome you to Fast Fact Friday, where I provide job market updates and we talk about some tips and tricks for your career hunt. You hear in the background our numbers guy, Mr. Smokey the Dachshund. He is putting in his 2 cents worth. So let's talk a little bit about the market after we assist Mr. Smokey. There we go. Sorry about that. So let's talk again about the market. There's been a lot going on, obviously, with the federal government and layoffs and such. Right now, the Department of Energy labs are eyeing over 3,000 job cuts because of funding rollbacks. We've got freight related. So there are several companies that are looking to lay off and provided the notice that they legally have to require if their company is over a certain size. And those companies are Republic National Distributing Company, Canfor Corp, Bluestream Brands, DeRoyal Industries, Weber Lumber, Howard Miller Co., Ohio Eagle Distributing, Pacino Foods, Western Forest Products, Americold Logistics, Lightspeed Logistics Miami LLC, Car Parts Com, Macmillan Piper, GSC Enterprises, Salon Centric, Auto Warehousing, BRP Marine, Marshall Excelsior, Backyard Play Nation, Spectrum Plastic Group, and CHS. And the numbers are next to each of those. Sorry if that's a little too information overload, but I do want to make sure folks who are listening who might be visually impaired get the same experience that the rest of us get. All right, so not the best news, obviously. The EPA is also talking about eliminating a whole office as it begins their thousands of layoffs. What that means for the workforce and the influx of people, or if the majority of them are just going to go ahead and take retirement if they've worked long enough. There is a lot of good news out there, though. So we got the bad out of the way. Let's talk about some of the good. Oh, that would not be it. Business Insider. Job searching in 2025. It's a mess no matter how old you are. And you might say, this is good? What? I want people out there to know, and I emphasize this pretty frequently on my live streams, that you are not alone. The job hunt has changed since 2020, and it's a very difficult target to hit. There are some things that were identified that are very generational specific, Gen X, as well as millennials and Gen Z. And I will post the article in the comments that you guys can look through those and see if your experience lines up with that, and see maybe if you have some takeaways that will help on your job hunt, which is obviously my goal. Let's talk about what else we've got. There is the U.S. Department of Labor is launching an online resource to increase employment opportunities for 5 million disabled veterans. So that is incredible news. So if you're a disabled vet or know a disabled vet, have them reach out to their resources, because this is going to be really a game changer. Anybody local too, I also know, have a dear friend who is working on many projects that are helping vets, and I will be happy to connect you if you are on the job hunt. The U.S. weekly jobless claims fall and job growth appears steady. So despite all these news of layoffs, remember, layoffs have gone on forever, things are starting to kind of even out. So don't feel like you're fighting an uphill battle. That playing field looks to be kind of leveling at this point. So that is incredible. The fastest growing cities. So if you are on the job hunt and you're open to relocation, or if a firm you like is based in one of these places and has perhaps a remote role or a hybrid role, is that something that you can do? But these are the fastest growing cities for jobs and new talent. So I think this especially would apply to folks really looking to do that pivot in their mid-career and say, I want to get into a new industry. This might be something to look at. Also for those college grads, are these cities ones that you want to check? And I will also link this article, so you have those 2 articles, like the generationally one and this one about which cities are growing faster. So I want to talk about scams. I actually had a dear friend of mine who's got a deep and storied background, both of in service as a board member and chair, but also in the human resources sector. And if you ever receive, I mean, there's a lot of ways that scammers have gotten really good at what they do, and they can trick us all. I had a couple things come through my email recently that kind of I almost fell for. So it can happen even for people who are chronically online. And they offered her $85.50 check in advance for her equipment. If you are offered that, that is a scam. Do not communicate with people any further. Send all documentation you have to your local law enforcement officers. You can call their non-emergency line to get where you should send that to. But that is definitely important to track, and hopefully they can narrow these things down and catch these people. But it's absolutely a scam, and you will be on the hook for that money. And I almost had a heart attack when she told me how much. And I could not emphasize enough in Facebook Messenger, like, call your bank, stop the check, all this. But there are a lot of other ways you can get scammed. One of the things that folks do on LinkedIn is they reach out about a wonderful job opportunity. And I had a Facebook friend post, hey, here's somebody else trying to take my money. And it was some weird job that wasn't in the person's field, and a guarantee of $3,200 a month with no real job title, no job description, no request for an interview. Folks, let's get real. If I want to hire you, none of that is going to be how I do it. None of that is how any of this works. So please, 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 if you are in doubt and something feels fishy, trust your gut. Reach out to your trusted network and say, hey, what do you think about this? This feels a little off to me. No recruiter worth their salt is going to just completely out of pocket dismiss you because you took a day to answer. So definitely do your research, protect yourself. Some of these places where we've sent our resumes or where we posted them, especially years ago, like Monster and Career Builder, have just now become a clearinghouse for resumes, and people pay for access to that data because, my friends, in our world today, data is king. And I'm getting contacted for, just yesterday, for an IT role. So I called back, got on the phone with the person, had them pull me up in their system. And when he looked at that, I said, can you please tell me what you saw in my resume that would make me a good fit for an IT role in Texas? For those of you unaware, I'm in Ohio. He's like, oh, you'd be great fit for HR. And I'm like, yes, with 2 decades of experience, I would agree. And I got my phone number and my email removed from their system. Or at least he told me he did. That was my request. So you can do that as well if you feel someplace is fishy and they're completely missing the mark. Go ahead and pull your information. It's always best if you can to apply directly on the employer's site, and you'll avoid some of this. Creating an Indeed profile is great. A lot of people like Glassdoor, especially for higher level roles, C-suite and up. I am not a fan of applying on LinkedIn. I think I actually got contacted off of one application ever. And I mean, by contacted, I mean even declined. So the response rate is lower than the 2 to 3% response rate you would get out in the wild. So I definitely don't recommend that. But I just wanted to give you a heads up to please keep yourself safe. Stay cool out there in this really toasty summer weather. And take care of yourself and each other. And I will see you on the flip side, my friends. Happy Friday.